can see there's not quite so many people as normal on the briefing, and looking at weather chart, you can actually see why. That's quite an intense low pressure that's developed over the last 2 days, starting off in the Atlantic out here, and they're developing around this high pressure and intensifying and coming across us. It's not quite as bad as first thought, maybe 24, 36 hours ago, for the winds across North Scotland and Northern England. We thought we were going to be sort of 70, 80 miles an hour, but a little bit less than that. But still quite a lot of rain attached to this frontal system here. And you can see this is the midday chart, we're tucked in here. We're basically drawing in southerly winds. And as this low pressure moves and the cold front comes towards us, these isobars will tighten up as the day goes on. So slowly and steadily over the day, the wind will increase. The upper wind's going to be fairly strong from the get-go. So TAFs for today. First thing, it's saying variable 3 knots. That's certainly not the case. It's probably 10, 12 knots from the southeast. So what we've got is this basically now, and that's where it will stay. We think broken 100 feet, which is probably what we've got at the moment to start off with, and that will slowly lift as the temperature goes up and eventually become scattered at sort of 1,500 to 2,000 feet. There's the broken 800, which is what it'll turn into. And then it doesn't give a tempo, strong winds in the afternoon, but Gatwick do. And they're sort of saying later on this afternoon, 15 gusting 25 in Southampton and other places. So by mid-afternoon, it'll have got quite windy, I think. Upper winds, as I said, they're strong already. So 2,000 feet, 45 knots, probably by the time we actually get flying. So that's something to be very, very aware of. Don't drift downwind at all. We'll talk about airfield setup and landing shortly, and how we're going to operate. SatPic shows it's sort of picking up this cloud. Is not particularly thick, but it's also picking up rain, the brighter white bits out here, and here is the main front, as you'll see, and slowly moving towards us. So the rainfall radar, essentially we might be unlucky and just catch a bit of a shower at times, but this it doesn't track directly towards us. It sort of tracks slowly northeast, and eventually that will get to us, probably by the time we've packed up, I would have thought. Temperature wise, the radio said it was going to be 22 degrees today, and I don't believe that at all. Yes, it's a mild southerly wind, but I think more like about 18, 19 degrees here, but a bit of a chill to the wind when there's no sun just at the moment. Won't bother with any ascents or anything like that. I don't think it's going to be in any way soarable. We'll just look at how the weather's going to sort of progress during the day. This is the sort of 10 o'clock chart. Still quite a lot of low cloud and slowly lifting into overcast and then sort of broken cumulus, and perhaps possibly blue by midday onwards. And we can see the progress of the front here as the day goes on. Eventually it starts to sort of head our way in the afternoon. So I think unfortunately the evening group might find that it's raining by the time they think about getting going. So let's look at the predicted rainfall. It's 9 o'clock, and that looks very similar to the picture you saw, and it tracking northeast, and eventually by sort of 3-4 o'clock, heading towards us. By 6 o'clock, I suspect it's going to be here. But heaviest, so tracking up through Yorkshire and into Scotland. Okay, so potentially flyable from mid to late morning. Strong winds, that's for sure. The wind increasing as the day goes on, and I can show you that looking at the 30-foot winds. For today, green's quite light. This is first thing this morning, and then as we move on, it picks up into the browns, 15 knots, and by the afternoon, getting above 20 knots around us, and maybe a bit more than that. The whites are essentially above 25 knots. So wind slowly picking up during the day. And that's the main feature today. Okay, quickly onto airspace. Not really a lot in our area. Over Salisbury Plain, they just changed the height of the danger areas. Those two to the eastern end of Salisbury Plain are variable height danger areas that are activated and increased by NOTAM, and that's what that is. Apart from that, no airspace. In theory, as of 5 to 9, there was no flight plans issued for jet movements or any other movements from 2EE, but that's changed certainly yesterday and the day before, so won't be surprised if something doesn't pop up. And really, it's then on to how we're going to operate. The wind is pretty much southeast. It's in line pretty much with 1-6. So the often we go on that runway. Just a quick reminder, we'll set up the launch point vehicle on the tarmac just slightly back from the main runway, depending on predicted slight wind direction. We might launch the gliders on the runway or on the grass. That'll be the decision we make on the day when we get out there. Shortest run, about 1,100 meters. Just be aware of your launch failure options. And because of the strong winds, landing area is in here. Use the runway as your reference point. Don't go too far behind the trees. In fact, at times, don't go behind the trees at all. And you'll come down nice and steeply and land in this area here. Remember, don't sort of land at 90 degrees to the Perry track, because what you'll do is you'll come in over here and then land next to the cables. And you've got to land parallel to the main runway, the 1-6 runway, down through here. Okay, so that's how we're going to operate. I think we'll get the gliders out, take a look at it, and then when it starts to show signs of clearing, then we'll get the stuff out onto the runway and get going and flying. Okay, see you out there.